This is Beer in Front, part of the Beer Media Group. Every week I'll talk to people in and around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 258 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a charter member of the Beer Media Group. I'm going to have, not me, Peggy's going to have another THC beverage review today. I talked to Julie Rhodes, who is the co-founder of Kick Fizz. This is a new beverage that is a low-dose THC beverage with CBD. Comes in two exciting flavors, so I'm going to talk to Julie about that. I'm going to have my friend Peggy do a review. And some of you people, let me just go off on this little tangent. Some of you people weren't kind to Peggy. You said she sounded a little robotic and a little stiff. Hey, not everybody is used to being in front of a microphone. Not everyone's a natural like me. So be a little kinder to Peggy this time, you clowns. That was a fun interview with Julie. That was a good interview with Julie. It was great to meet Julie, talk to her, know of her on social media and everything. So it was nice to actually speak to her. That was a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. If you didn't catch last week's show, check that one out when you're done listening to this with Brews Beers and the Belgian Import Festival. That's coming up on June 7th. You can still get tickets, so grab them now before that sells out. That looks like an awesome time. I usually get beer sent in the mail, not the mail because it's illegal, sent via carrier pigeon. Well, the other day, Ruby sends me a text. I'm at work. She's like, you got a package in a styrofoam cooler. Like, I don't know anybody sending me beer. I don't know. Open it up. It's cheese. I was sent some cheese from Yancey's Fancy and PBR. So this is a Pabst Blue Ribbon infused cheddar cheese. I did a video on that. That'll come out shortly. And I'm going to mix this up with my food and beer pairing series. Grandpa Beer, his lovely wife Sharon had a suggestion about maybe a fondue. So Sharon, I like the way you think. I think I'm going to do a fondue with this beer cheese from Yancey's Fancy and PBR. So stay tuned for that. Fondue. I need to buy an apparatus to make some fondue, but that sounds fun. Maybe dip some pretzel bites, something like that in that. So that'll be coming out in a couple of weeks. On next week's show, I talked to Joe and Nick from Hop In We're Drinking. I'm going to have that out next week, so stay tuned for that. Two great guys, craft beer lovers, home brewers, so that was a good time. That's going to come out next week. Enough rambling here. Let's get on with the show. In beer and beverage news, Bell's is coming out with the 40th anniversary Expedition Stout. This is going to be aged in bourbon barrels, clocking in at 13.9%. That's going to come out later this year. If you live in the Chicago area, this Wednesday, May 28th, the Northman Riverwalk is hosting a Yappy Hour. Bring your dog to meet new friends while you're enjoying some great cider at the Northman. Half Acre and Firestone Walker, they're collaborating for Daisy Cutter Union. This is going to be a West Coast IPA celebrating two iconic beers, Union Jack and Daisy Cutter. Shine On THC Beverages from Twisted Hippo, they came out with the new limited flavor called Prairie Herbs. This is the gin and tonic inspired beverage that we talked about when Carl was on from Shine On last month. The proceeds for Prairie Herbs are going to benefit the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild. It's available now at District Brew Yards, Promiscuous, Beer on the Wall, and other shops soon to follow. If you have a pinter and you're a fan of Iron Maiden, they're collaborating on Trooper, which is a beer from Iron Maiden, And they're going to have a special edition pinter as well. So if you have a pinter, you're a fan of legendary heavy metal band Iron Maiden, you got to check that out. Revolution and Surly, they're collaborating for a Deepwood series beer called Surly. This is a bourbon barrel and red wine barrel aged stout that's going to come out later this year. If you live in Texas, someone needs to tell me how this is, because this is the year of the shandy. A brewery called 903 Brewers, they're coming out with a pineapple cucumber shandy, which actually sounds really good to me. This is a 4% alcohol beer. If you see it and you listen to the show, hook me up. I'll trade you some Chicago beers for a pineapple shandy cucumber. And finally, Texas is close to having a ban on THC and hemp products. This is going to the governor's desk, so who knows if he signed it, but knowing Governor Abbott, he will. This is, we're talking about THC beverages on the show this week. Things like that are going to be outlawed. And according to a House Representative, Tom Oliverson, he's saying they're not banning hemp, they're banning high. So if you live at a border state of Texas, you're going to get an uptick in traffic. I don't get it. It's legal across the nation. In Texas, you have drive-through liquor stores, but you can't buy THC beverages if this law passes. So go figure. Kick Fizz is a recent entry into the THC beverage market that has been taken off lately. Each can has 2 milligrams of hemp-derived Delta-9 THC and CBD for those moments when you need something, but being bloated and hungover isn't it. Kick Fizz comes in 2 delicious flavors: day drinking, which is a lemon berry ice, and evening buzz, a black cherry vanilla. Joining me now to talk about Kick Fizz is the legend herself, Julie Rhodes, the co-owner of Kick Fizz. Julie, nice to meet you, and thanks for talking about Kick Fizz today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to get into this with you.
I love the concept behind this. So why Kick Fizz and why now?
Okay, well, there's a bit of a backstory, so just kind of buckle up here for a second. And that is, in my full-time gig, I am a brewery consultant. I also work with cideries and spirits and things of that sort. But I was hired a handful of years ago by a hard seltzer company that was based in Cleveland, and they had a concept that was like a Moscow Mule kind of hard seltzer. But to be frank with you, they were a little late to the seltzer game. It was kind of saturated. Like the market was starting to kind of get, it was making that move towards like the bigger brands, and the smaller brands were having a little bit of trouble. So they brought me on to help optimize like distribution and weigh in on the branding and talk about marketing and sales and all those kind of things. We worked on it for, about a year, couldn't save it. Sadly, we had to kind of fold the project eventually, but we had done so much work on the brand and the concept. We rebranded it and we redid the flavors and all kinds of things. The owner came back to me about a year later and said, I don't want to scrap all this work that we put into it. We do think it has legs. Like, what else could we do? And, as a business consultant, I have to keep my eye on the marketing or the market in general, like the drinks market. And like, I was seeing where everything was going. I'm based in Colorado, so I'm very close with cannabis. You can probably guess why. Um, and so my theory was like, hey, what if we kept like the bubbly, keep the flavors, keep the bubbly, sparkling drink thing going and use our fun branding, but turn it into a hemp-based beverage. And my other partners were on board, and we jumped head first into it about a year ago, and we just launched about 3 months ago. So here we are.
Well, most of the beverages that I see here in Illinois, they are in the 5 to 10 milligram range. Was a lower dose beverage something that was intentional from the start?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we did see we did R&D with like sample groups. My poor neighbors, I say my poor neighbors, they probably weren't sad about doing it, but we sampled things out and like tried different flavors and we asked people's opinions like, what do you think about a THC beverage? Like, how does that make you feel? Is it, and the consensus that we got was, oh, that really scares me. Like, it kind of freaks me out. It's sort of unknown. I don't have a lot of education. There's not a lot of information out there about it. I don't know how it's going to affect me personally, because THC affects people in different ways. So does CBD, so there was a lot of hesitancy about things that were like 5 milligram, 10 milligram, anything above that. So we thought, well, there's not a lot of low dose folks out there, like below, 5 milligrams. What if we became like the household name for like, like a gateway hemp beverage of like, hey, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's friendly, it's approachable, it's colorful. And, when we brought that idea to kind of the focus groups that we were working with, everybody pretty much said, like, yeah, that wouldn't freak me out. I'd be willing to try that. So it was something that we thought, had momentum. And that's why we wanted to get in there. And, I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I can't weigh in totally on legal issues 100%, but the way that we see regulation like shaping is that we feel like lower dose is kind of a safer spot to be in. So that made us comfortable as well.
This could be the official beverage of customer service people. They should we could market this like,
It
you
could
need this to
be
get through the day. Yeah.
the post shift drink
Yeah.
instead of, something else that they might engage, imbibe a little bit too much in. But yeah, we do believe it's like just the right amount. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, and friendly.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Well, I mentioned the two flavors. How did you come about with the flavor profiles?
Okay, so again, that was actually research. We didn't just guess at it. We had data from when we were doing the hard seltzer flavors. We knew what people were gravitating towards. And actually, when we were going through the rebrand, we did a random sample group at a local brewery tap room that we did a blind tasting with different fizzy drink samples of different flavor combinations. We did about 8 different flavors, and these 2 were the top ones. So it was as simple as a survey. We had, people from all different age groups. We had college kids, we had Gen X, we had some people's parents that came. So we felt like it was a nice little segment to go off of. And they had a simple Google form that they filled out and gave us tasting notes and everything. And yeah, the lemon berry ice and the black cherry vanilla were the 2 winners out of that.
In looking at it now, each seem perfect for the time and day that you're going to consume it. Like the lemon berry for during the day, very bright, very, sunny. And then you have the black cherry vanilla, which just in my mind seems like darker. This would be like perfect to wind down at the end of the day, if you will.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were going for. And that, that's a big part of the brand as well, is that something that we noticed about the drink space is that it's very crowded right now. Like customers have a lot of choices. They have a lot of things to pick from. So we thought, what do people do with this beverage? Like, do they, and why, what would inspire them to buy something off of the shelf? Well, it's usually because you have some kind of emotional connection to it, like you went to a tap room or something, or you took a trip and maybe you had it on the road. But the other thing is occasion based drinking. And to actually know, like, okay, I'm having a barbecue with my friends this weekend. Like, I'm going to go to the store and pick something up. So, with that in mind, what do people gravitate towards? So, we thought, okay, can we find like a couple of or a handful of like winning flavors and then think about like what people would do with that? And then what can we slap a name on the front of it that has nothing to do with the flavor, but it has to do for like when you're going to drink it or what you're going to do with it. So we thought, well, I mean, this is light and citrusy. You drink it during the day. We're just going to call it day drinking. And then, it removes that decision fatigue of like, okay, I'm looking for something I could just like sip on during the day, maybe like, on your patio or your porch, or, I don't know, work from home if you have a light day or something like that. But, like something that won't make you crash out. That's what we were looking for. And so we were like, can we really call this day drinking? Or like, yeah, we can. So, that's the direction we went. And then we went the opposite direction, which is evening buzz. So, like anything that you would do in the evening or at nighttime, if it's a wind down after work, and we have other flavors to come. There's other occasions that we're looking at because we know people do different things with social beverages. So you just have to keep an eye out. But these are our first two.
Well, the cans range between 45 and 65 calories. I like that you use real fruit purees and extracts, agave nectar. If you have dietary issues, both cans are gluten free.
Hmm. Yes, 100% gluten free. Yep, naturally gluten free too, not gluten removed. I have good friends that are celiac, so I know to tell the difference. It is not gluten removed, 100% gluten free from the beginning.
Awesome. Well, I know like mutual friends of ours, they told me that it tastes great. And I'm going to have a special THC correspondent review this later. Describe in your own words what makes Kick Fizz the game changer in this new THC marketplace.
I think the biggest thing for us is actually delivering on flavor. So we want people to know, like, we take flavor very seriously. And I say that comes from, there's a lot of people that say that, but coming from a project that didn't work all that well flavor wise, we were like, you know what? We are bound and determined, like, whatever we have on the can, that's the promise that we make. It's gonna be bold, it's not gonna be disappointing, it's not gonna be watered down, it's not gonna be bitter, any of that stuff. We just didn't want it to be another, like, fizzy water, like a flavored fizzy. There's plenty of that out there. So it is, as cliche as it sounds, it is a fruity, sparkling beverage, and that's what you're gonna get. And the flavors that are on the can are really gonna kind of punch you in the face. It's not really like a low key flavor kind of situation. The other thing too is if you crack a can, it smells good. It smells like the flavors on the can. It doesn't smell like a regular fizzy water,
Yeah, like
or
you're
a
opening up a
seltzer.
LaCroix or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we also have, we don't use any artificial colors or anything. The colors of the beverages themselves come from the fruit puree that we use. So, the day drinking is like this really cool, like, electric pink color, and then, the black cherry vanilla it's pink as well, but a little bit more muted because it's a darker cherry, kinda situation. But we felt like that made us different as well. Like, it's fun to look at. It was fun to mix with stuff, right? But yeah, the other thing is that, again, we were trying to stand out to people by just making it easy for them to grab, like a no-brainer, you know? And then again, being in that low dose space, we just didn't wanna scare anyone at all. And then the other fun part about being low dose is that, and there's no alcohol, you can play with these with, like, mocktail
Yeah.
recipes. So, like, we tell people they play well with others. So, like, throw some of the day drinking into, like, an iced tea, and you've got, like, a really jazzed up kinda Arnold Palmer situation going on. And, I do this with the black cherry vanilla, but I'll toss it in like a cola or something and wind up getting, like, a cherry cola situation, or putting it over ice cream for, like, an adult, like, float situation, which is really nice. So, there's a lot of flexibility in, like, what you can do, and, get creative with it. Um, but, the biggest thing was just being able to say, like, "Hey, consumer, we know you have a lot of choices. We're just gonna take that decision fatigue out. Like, it is what it is. We deliver what we promise, and it's not a scary thing to pull off the shelf, so come on in."
Given your marketing background, doing starting your own company, how has that changed, if at all, like your views on marketing and promotion since it's actually your baby now?
I know, I know. It's one of those, like, it's time for Julie to pay the toll, right? I gotta practice what I preach with all the stuff that I teach to everybody. I'll just be brutally honest with you, Dave, like, it is a cold slap in the face reminder of how hard it is to build a brand from 0. I mean, it is, and I say this with like, I'm probably preaching to the choir with all the small business owners out there with craft alcohol brands or beverage brands, especially when you don't have a physical location where you can like sample and bring people into an experience. It is literally just like, take our word for it. Like we we promise it's good, or at least at the beginning. So it has been a testament to kind of, I don't want to say it's altered the way that I teach people how to do like digital marketing and sales now. I feel like it's sharpened my skill set because I'm testing, I'm doing things in real time, I'm seeing what's working, what's not working, I'm seeing what age segments this is resonating with, the type of people it's resonating with. And, it's painfully slow, organic, if you don't have a six-figure marketing budget right off the bat, right? Which most people don't. It's painfully slow, but you have to really just like put your head down and be like, we know what this is. We know who we're trying to reach. We know where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do. And that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, a lot of the THC beverages, they're more of the direct consumer now, which is great, where you were able to get data that you wouldn't have if people were just walking into their local liquor store. So that has to be beneficial, I would think, knowing who's buying it, everything else, where they live, what they want it for.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do get an advantage. Gosh, I wish that USPS Act would pass for craft breweries so they could start shipping more because yeah, you do have a level of data exposure that you don't get in the three-tier system with like a tap room or a wholesaler and like going through all those different channels, right? Not to say that these beverages won't wind up, in like a similar situation, but the online aspect of having that is a huge advantage because we can see things through like marketing analytics, demographic information, like where people are buying from, how often, what age range they are, things like that. So it's immensely helpful. And then also being able to, and breweries can do this too, but like encouraging people to like leave reviews and send us feedback, reach out to us on social media, email us directly, like the founders, we answer all the emails personally. And that's like the best feedback in the world. So yeah, I consider us pretty lucky in that sense for sure.
Yeah, because I remember I was talking to the owner of Go Brewing 2 years ago, and he was saying that that's like one of their benefits being a non-alcoholic brewery is he has all of the data, all of the numbers, and he felt that made them a better company by having access to all of this.
Yeah, it's an amazing advantage, and honestly, the wine folks have it. They're really lucky. Cider does a lot of direct to consumer. So does spirits as well. Beer has unfortunately kind of been like an outlier when it comes to that. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage. The only kind of crutch that we have being in the hemp space or THC space is that we can't be on Amazon. We can't sell in Target. We can't sell in Walmart. You know what I mean? Like all those kind of traditional e-commerce channels where people are we can't be on TikTok shop or Instagram shop or whatever it is, there's plenty of functional beverages on those channels, but we're limited because of, current restrictions. So,
Are there
yeah.
plans to be more available in retail markets, or is that something further down the road?
It's a little down the road, not like way further, but it's, because that's like my wheelhouse is distribution and retail. I did supplier side sales in beer for like 12 plus years and of course now I teach it to small teams. So we're in talks right now with some retail accounts and some distributors in different states. I am very acutely aware of how strategic you have to be with getting into the distribution channel. So I wanna say we're kind of, like, timid at this point, but creeping towards there. So DTC is fine for right now, like, we're very comfortable just being online, and we're hoping to be in retail in the next 3 to 6 months.
Awesome. Well,
Mhm.
who has the Kick Fizz customer been so far? And have there been any pleasant surprises looking at the numbers from what you've seen?
I don't we did a lot of research. So I don't want to say like I wasn't surprised at all, but it does I guess it should be comforting that it mirrors the research that we did. And I hate to give you a lawyer answer of like being all over the place, but it is a good spread. We do find like Gen Z customers that maybe um you know for health reasons they want to like pull back or moderate alcohol a little bit. We find millennials and Gen X folks are gravitating towards these because they aren't drinking as much alcohol because of the hangover factor. So like most of them are they have families or maybe they're taking care of their aging parents or they have like high demand jobs, that it's more of the hangover thing than the actual like imbibing of alcohol, it's just like I just don't want to feel like junk the next day. And then we have a whole bunch of older like baby boomer age, customers that, I can't make we are making zero health claims, by the way. That's my disclaimer. Zero health claims about Kick Fizz, but there are ingredients in this that could produce a more restful sleep, kind of help with inflammation, anxiety, sort of help you unwind after a long day or maybe a long workout, like, something of that sort. So we do find an older clientele quite a bit. That's a pretty heavy base for us is the older clientele that is looking for something besides like a glass of wine or, a cocktail or something to help them sort of relax. Yeah, and
Yeah.
enjoy their downtime. So, yeah, it's been kind of a spread, but I would say, the elderly folks really dig us.
Well, mom, I know you're listening, mom. So you drink this. You don't rub it on your knees or anything. This is a drink. You have to drink it.
I know, actually, my I got my mother to drink, Kick Fizz a couple weeks ago for the first time, and my mom has never done
Yeah.
like a DRUG in her life, like, she is very straight, and she was like, "These are
Yeah.
great." She's like, "Oh, awesome." My ankle's not swollen anymore. Yeah, I mean, just say, so little things like that.
Yeah.
It's just fun to see people explore the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know she asked me, that's about maybe a year ago, like, Dave, do you think you could buy me some edibles? I'm like, Mom, it's legal here. You could go to a dispensary and buy it yourself. Oh, I can't be seen in a place. So you want me to? No, Mom, I'm going to give you the website. You could order some Kick Fizz yourself.
There you go. We
Yeah.
we ship to, like, 42 states,
Yeah.
so you're good.
Well, another thing that I loved about it is the artwork on the cans. I think both are absolutely brilliant. The fonts, the layouts. I'm a judge in the Craft Beer
Um,
Marketing Awards, the Crushies. You need to enter these cans next year because I thought
oh,
these
maybe
were
we should.
great. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Who's responsible for who is responsible for the artwork on those?
Oh, okay, so I have to give her a plug, and
Yeah.
everybody can just go, like, follow her on
Yeah.
social media. She is a doll. Her name is Kendall Eckhart. And, she and I crossed paths in the cider world a few years ago, but I knew that she did, graphic design kind of like on the side as like a solo project, and she's done a whole bunch of, beverage labels and, like, marketing work in the beverage world, and so I immediately thought of her, and also, I don't know. I watched her marketing in action. I really loved her aesthetic. I thought it was a good fit for the brand. And so we gave her kind of some renderings and like can mock-ups that we had of the former brand when it was the hard seltzer. And we gave her like a brand identity folder and told her like what we wanted to pursue and the people that we were trying to reach. And she did her magic. And this is what it came up with. She's fantastic. I hope I don't get her company name right or wrong. It's called Kendall Grace Designs. So go Google Kendall Grace Design and you can find her on Instagram and she's fantastic. She
Yeah.
did
I
a
mean,
great job.
when I saw the both cans, the pictures of it, I'm like, oh, these are good, like really
Oh,
good. It
thank you.
conveys the message. Like I said, even like the fonts, I just loved everything about the graphic design on these cans.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm.
We're really excited and we're excited about commissioning her to do like the other flavors, like the brand extensions and stuff like that, because we're very happy with the outcome and the aesthetic, and we think it's universal too. It's just fun. It looks
Yes.
like a fun can.
Well,
So, yeah.
if any products come out like a dad hat or something, I'm wearing one.
Thank you. That's another thing. Oh gosh, we have to grow a little bit more, but merch is in the cards at some point. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I do want to get out of the way, that even though under the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC is legal, every state is different. And if you're subject to random drug testing, this is going to show a positive result. So I do want to put it out there. Like myself, I'm subject to random testing. So that's why I have friends review this. So if that's you, you've been warned.
You get the warning. We do have the warning on the can if that helps anybody. You can just read the can. We actually, that's another thing that's kind of unique about us to toss in there is we have directions for drinking on the can. So it's just like a 3-step thing. Like if you're still a little worried about what to do with it, we tell you like, hey, start low, go slow, you know, finish it off if you want to, or just, we say drink it until you feel kick ass and go from there. Yeah.
Well, in addition to Kick Fizz, your bio stretches most limits on Zoom meetings. Like I'm afraid I'm going to get the ticker here in a second. If a brewery needs assistance, how can you and Not Your Hobby Marketing Solutions help them to achieve their dreams?
Oh, I love that you asked me this. Thank you. And I'll try to keep it short, but what I like to tell people is like I help you stop the guesswork with the business side of your brand. That's the best way to put it. So, if you have limited resources, if you have limited time, if you have a small budget, if you're a growing, beverage brand, I help folks out with like increasing sales, optimizing your distribution footprint or working with wholesalers. That's right up my alley. And the biggest thing is digital marketing, is just making sure that you're spending the right money on the right things, like getting most bang for your buck, and then also making sure that you're paying attention to the right channels. Because, the majority of the people in the beverage space or beverage production space did not get into that to be like a marketer or a salesperson, right? Like it came from like craftsmanship and like something that they wanted to produce. And I get that, but that's why I'm here, because I did that stuff for like decades. So yeah, you could just lean on me. But I like to tell people the best thing you could do for your business is bring in an outside set of eyes that won't break your budget. So if that's you, come talk to me. You can just go to my website and find me. Yeah.
Excellent. And what would that website be?
That would be notyourhobbymarketing.com.
Excellent. You got to check out Julie. I appreciate it so much. I'm super stoked about this. Best of luck with Kick Fizz. And Mom, I'll order you some. Don't worry about it. But where can folks order Kick Fizz if they're interested?
Oh, that's great. Thank you. You can just go to www.kickfizz.com. We have a shop. There's a giant shop button. And we have all kinds of fun like holiday sales and stuff like that. Also, if you didn't notice, because I'm the marketing gal, we have a pretty cool email community. So it's called the Kickback. It's got our cute little mule guy on there. But if you want to sign up for the Kickback, it's really fun. We send out like mocktail recipes and discounts and news about flavors and playlists on Spotify and like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a good time.
I do love the little mule like that.
Thank you.
I got room. We could get tattooed somewhere on
you
here.
can get that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
might have to figure out like drinks for life with a tattoo or something.
Excellent. Well, Julie, thank you so much for coming on. It was nice to meet you finally. And best of luck with Kick Fizz.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Julie was kind enough to send over some Kick Fizz samples, so since I cannot have them, I gave them to my friend Peggy to try. So here's Peggy with the review.
Thanks again, Dave. I'm going to have from Kick Fizz, the Day Drinking. Now this is a lemon berry ice. I'm excited you keep having these THC companies on, and you keep providing me with these good beverages. It's a win-win for everyone. So let's crack open this Day Drinking from Kick Fizz. It looks really good. It has more of a pinkish color. I'm guessing that's because of the berries. It smells really good. Get like everything out of here. I get the berries. I get the lemon. It smells really nice. Oh, that's outstanding. It's lightly carbonated, but has a terrific flavor. You get everything. You get all of the lemon. You get the berry. I think this is terrific. This would be perfect for a hot summer day if you want something, a little pick-me-up, if you will. According to the can, it has 25 milligrams of caffeine. So this would be good to get you throughout your day. Once again, Dave, thank you for hooking me up. And thank you, Kick Fizz. If you see the day drinking, or if you see the evening buzz from Kick Fizz, is Dave would say put it in the cart. All right. Thank you, Dave, for having me back. I'm going to try the Kick Fizz Evening Buzz. This is black cherry vanilla. I'm looking forward to it. Let's crack it open. And this has a nice golden color to it. Not a lot of carbonation here. I definitely get that black cherry vibe out of the aroma. I think it smells really nice. That's really good. I get a lot of the cherry more than the vanilla. The cherry is what hits me up front. The vanilla kind of brings up the fryer. But I think this is really good. It's a nice tart cherry. I would definitely buy these for myself. If you want something a little bit just to kind of unwind before you go to bed. I think this is going to be delicious. Dave, I'll talk to you a little later and I'll let you know what the results were. Thank you.
All right, so I'm happy to talk to my friend Peggy here because once again, I cannot consume these beverages. So Peggy, thank you so much for reviewing this for me.
Anytime. Dave, do people really say I sound robotic?
What did you think of both the day drinking and the evening buzz?
I thought they both tasted great. I liked them both. The day drinking was good. I liked it with the caffeine that gave me a nice tiny little buzz and gave me that little lift, while the evening buzz, that was good to help me unwind before I went to bed. So I thought both of these were just great. They deliver what they promised. I thought this was outstanding. And I'll definitely be ordering again. So Julie, when you see an order from Peggy, that's me.
Well, Peggy, I thank you again. I'm sure I'll be calling you again soon.
Anytime, Dave, let me know. Next time you need a review.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. I want to thank Julie Rhodes from Kick Fizz and Not Your Hobby Marketing for talking about her new great product, Kick Fizz. You can head over to their website and pick some up for yourself. Thank you, Julie, for coming on. Have a great week. It's my birthday on Friday, so send me a virtual cheers or whatever. I'll be sure to have a beer after work. Have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.